Hello, my name is Nicole Dimich-Fogley, and along with my colleague Carolyn Chapman, we wrote a piece motivating students 25 strategies to light the fire of engagement. And our thinking around this was really to think about some of the common concerns and questions and struggles that teachers bring to us as the two of us work with folks around the country trying to figure out how to best support and empower their work. And so motivating students came about with this desire to really look at some of the key research as well as some of the key practical strategies and what does this look like in a classroom and what kinds of things can really inspire teachers to really inspire students. And so we came up with a framework. And our framework was really designed to empower students to be deeply engaged in their learning. And we really, in our framework, it's a circular piece, and we have 5 different components. Because when we looked at motivation, the context is so important, because what motivates one student disengages another. And so each individual student, each individual classroom takes on a life of its own. And so we wanted to create some guiding principles and some guiding ideas around this, provide very practical ways of implementing this, but also pay attention to the fact that it's just not simple. Not one strategy is going to work with all students or for all teachers. So let's just I just want to give you a few minutes, or want to take a few minutes and really look at these 5 different pieces. The first is building a classroom learning community. And in this strand of strategies, it was really looking at the research that says relationships matter. When kids feel connected and engaged to their classrooms, when they feel like teachers care about them and want them to learn, even though they might get frustrated at times, but the general message and tone is, you're here and I really want to help you. So those strategies do look at having teachers really get to know who their students are, what gets their students excited, what are they interested in, what kinds of music, what kinds of literature, what kinds of experiences are kids having, and what do they tend to gravitate towards. The next part of the framework, the next piece, is describing and planning learning. And this is really looking at what do we want our students to learn, and what does that mean? What's the relevance of what we want our students to learn? So it is going to standards and taking a look at some of the things that we really are not only required to, but that as we look at them, how do we make that come alive? So many folks are now looking at learning targets or learning objectives, and they're framing things in the words of "I can." A lot of folks are looking at the depth of knowledge, or Bloom's taxonomy, and looking at what are those learning targets and how do they get more complex. What are those key ideas that kids need as they engage in their learning? And so we're describing that learning, and then we're looking to find activities and lessons and assessments that really capture that learning and engage our students. The next piece is all tied together. So I don't think any one of these things we do in isolation. We can look at certain strategies for a certain purpose, but then we need to go deeper into how some of these things play together, because the next part of the framework is finding adventure. And this is where we look at the passion. So when students ask the question, why do we have to learn this? We must have a better answer than it's going to be on the test, either one in my classroom or a big standardized test. And so in Finding Adventure, we offer strategies to really look at how do we make this learning come alive? Where is the excitement and passion? Why should we spend time digging into these things that we're learning? The fourth part of the framework is promoting choice and control. And in this regard, it's about how do we create spaces where students start to be able to own their learning, invest in their learning, and make some choices and take some control of their world. And so many cases, students are walking through their day and perhaps not having to make very many decisions. They're often told what they need to do and where they need to go, when they need to go, and then when they get there, there's a list of things that they need to accomplish. And so certainly that's not going to go away, but in what spaces can we intentionally promote choice and control in ways that get kids digging in deeply? And so that set of strategies around promoting choice and control gives you ideas around what that might look like. The final one the final part of the framework is ensuring learning. And so this is that notion of being really responsive. So when students are getting frustrated, when they don't understand, or when they do understand, how do we respond and push them deeper? So for those students who do get it, how do we push them deeper into their learning. This is where a lot of our formative assessment work comes in, where we think of formative assessment as using information, observations, quizzes, the mistakes students are making, to say, that's what I need to do next to help them learn. And in that same way, students are also reflecting, that's what I don't understand, so this is how I need to move forward. But as a teacher, how do we plan for those intentional moments that we're ensuring learning and we're responding to where kids are at and pushing them to those deeper levels? And so those are those 5 different aspects of the framework: building a classroom learning community, describing and planning learning, finding adventure, promoting choice and control, and ensuring learning. And so in our book, Motivating Students, we have 25 strategies that really fall into those categories so that we can create spaces where teachers and students feel empowered.